Okay.
Okay.
Just the agenda is in the chat, and just a few quick housekeeping notes. My name is Mary Beth. I am the vice president of the chapter. Our president, Melinda, is out ill this morning. Welcome to all of you. And if you are a guest this morning, please, in the chat, let us know where you're from and how you learned about the session. If you would like to be added to our email list, you can either put your email in the chat and we'll get you added so that you know about future events, or my email address is in there. You can email me directly and I'll get you to admin so that we get you added. I will be monitoring the chat as we go, so that if you have questions for Veleka, please put them in the chat. And as she is ready to take them, we'll pass them along. Our guest this morning is Veleka Gray. Dare I say, I've always wanted to say this, star of stage, screen, and television.
I love it.
She's had a long and exhilarating career in show business, as you would know from the bio that went out with the email. She is an amazing presenter. Oh, thanks, Kate. Welcome. We got somebody from Middle Tennessee. How cool is that? She is an amazing presenter, talking about today personality types and how we can use them in our writing. I hope you had a chance to watch the video link that she included, because it will make everything a whole lot more meaningful if you have. I've actually watched it twice so far, and by the fifth time I may get all my notes made, because it is a fascinating concept. So with no further ado, may I please present Veleka Gray. And
hi, guys.
Let me just mute everyone except you. If you would, please mute yourself.
Wait 1 second, please, Mary Beth.
Sorry.
Before they mute, I'm going to ask them to do a tiny little exercise.
Say again?
I'm going to ask them to do a tiny exercise before they
okay.
mute.
Don't mute yet. Sorry.
Don't mute yet. And
okay.
Also, I'm not good at checking chat.
I'll take care of it for you, sweetie.
Thank you very much. Okay, ladies, do we have any gentlemen here? Are we all, this is a hen party. Okay.
Looks like a hen party this morning.
I like that. Okay. I don't know how many of you all are published. You're about to tell me, and also whether or not you are actively pursuing getting your writing out into the world. The reason I ask this is because usually what I'm teaching is actors, and they of course have auditions and that sort of thing. Although a lot of I have two novelists in one of my acting classes right now, which I found really interesting. One of them is an award-winning Edgar Allan Poe writer, winner. The thing is, if you are, would you raise your hand? Betsy Ann and Kate can't, but could Betsy Ann and Kate say something? Would it be okay?
Okay, Betsy Ann, Kate, can you unmute for a moment?
Okay, Ann is. So Ann, are you raising your hand because you're actively pursuing selling your books? Is that why you put the thumbs up?
No, I didn't know which hand thing to put, so I just clicked on that one. Can you hear me?
As long as I've got you.
I am a published writer, mostly short stories that are ghost stories, but I'm in a lagging position right now, and I have not written for a period of time. I'm trying to get back into it and inspired, but I still work full time, so it's kind of challenging, but it's my dream, so that's why I'm here.
I understand. It took me a long time to admit that I was a writer. I was scared to death of having people judge my work, but now I don't care. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. One of the last classes I took from a writing teacher, because I study with so many of them, said, she said, you can notice that there are 3 types of people that can relate to your writing. There's 1/3 that doesn't like your writing. There's 1/3 that really likes your writing. There's 1/3 that go, who is she? They haven't any clue who you are. But the reason I was asking this, Anne, was because with my actors who are out there actively pursuing getting people to hire them, and I assume it will work just as well for writers, even though you guys aren't on auditions every day. Let me show you something that's very helpful. I'd like you to try to do it for me when we start, so I have an idea who I'm talking to. It's much more fun when I understand a little bit about you. So basically what I tell my acting students is take 30 seconds when someone says, tell me a little bit. Hi, Janet. When someone says, tell me a little bit about yourself, you take 15 seconds, which is a long time unless you know what you're going to say. Take 15 seconds to say something about yourself personally, and then 15 seconds to say something about yourself professionally. So I'm going to take one of my students. Her name is Teresa Alvarez. I just loved her self-description, and it goes like this. Hello, I'm Teresa Alvarez. I'm originally from Mexico. I moved with my family to Texas when I was a child, where I met and married my wonderful husband. I have 3 grown children and 3 grandchildren. I work for Data Corp, which is a company that produces those little boxes where you slip your credit card when you go to a restaurant or a store. And what I love to do when I'm not working is tango, Latin dancing, or riding my Harley on the highways of America. I got into acting when I took a class with Veleka Gray because I was feeling shy and was trying to find a way to help myself feel more assertive when I was selling my product. And right away, I noticed that I was a pretty good actress. And Veleka began casting me in the movies she makes. And now, as I have started my own theater company. And that's basically what Teresa would say if you asked her. She actually did. She's got a theater company in Prairieville, in Baton Rouge area. Okay. Would one of you brave souls please tell me a little bit about yourself? Vicki, are you up for this?
Sure, why not?
Great.
I'm Vicki Fanley. I live in rural Louisiana. I'm an avid gardener. I sell antique auto parts on eBay. I have 7 books and I'm in 4 anthologies. I do not promote my books. I write them for myself. Amen.
Cool. Very cool. Are any of them on Amazon or any of those?
All of them.
Okay. And do you have any sales?
I just got a note from Amazon. They were going to send me a check. You know, it's probably $3.20, but at
Hey,
any rate, you know, somebody's buying something.
Good for you. Jessica, what about you? You want to give it a go?
I'm Jessica Toste. I live in a small town, Louisiana in the South. I have 5 teenagers. I'm between the ages of 14 and 19.
Wow.
Pretty soon I won't be able to say 5 teenagers because the 2 oldest ones will be 20 this summer. Even though they still act like they're 5. On my day job, I write English curriculum and work with English teachers across the entire Lafourche Parish. So I have about 64 teachers that I work with on a daily day basis, teaching English in the secondary world. And in the dream job that I want, I would be writing books all day long, but I have 7 books out that I that I don't have as much time to promote as I'd like. But they're all sold on Amazon. And I'm hoping the goal is to become hybrid. And I'm looking right now for an agent for my book that I've just finished.
Oh, good. Can you give us your log line or tagline or whatever for your new book?
My new book is quite different than my books that I have out. So I've been writing cozy mysteries, and this one is more suspense. I haven't written, the reason I haven't got very far is because I'm in the process right now of doing all the query letters and the synopsis and all. So I'm still working on those, the log lines and all, but I veered into more character, it's more like character development, and it's more about the people instead of the mystery. So it has the suspense, but it's more about what happens when characters make bad choices and how does the consequences play out. So that's what I want to write with the standalones, because the other is a series. So
I just took a class with a guy named Mark Dawson, I think his name is. I don't know how many of y'all have heard of him. He's in England, and the whole course, which I really need to rewatch, kind of like what Mary Beth was saying, it's a lot to absorb, which is how to sell your books on Amazon in a way that actually gets them sold. So I think it's pretty sure his name is Mark Dawson.
Yeah.
And Mary Beth, tell us about you.
Okay, well, I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, live now in rural Mississippi. And I am a mother of one who is a grown man and has blessed me with one beautiful granddaughter. I love gardening when I can. I write because if I don't write, I go crazy. And I've got cozy Christian mysteries. I've got poetry. I've got short stories. I love writing in all of its forms pretty much. I'm not crazy, don't do porn, but pretty much all the genres that normal people go, My primary series, the LOL to the Fourth Power mysteries, it's about three little old ladies in South Mississippi and the mischief that they get into because they keep stumbling over dead bodies or being caught in the middle of things. And how do they get out of it without getting themselves killed?
That's great. That's great. Just to let you know, that was a little bit longer than 30 seconds because I think you were thinking of it. I think you were listening to what Vicki and Jessica said instead of plotting your own. And when
I just the mental image of my granddaughter just kind of swept me away. What can I say?
I think y'all are so lucky I wasn't able to have children. Anne,
may I interrupt for a moment?
Yes.
Janet has joined us.
Hi, Janet.
Janet, if you would please, in the chat, please let us know where you're from, how you heard about the meeting, and if you would like to be on our email list.
Hey, Anne.
Give us your email and we'll go from there. And Betsy has put her information in the chat. She says she is a newbie, not published in writing yet. And writing is her retirement career because she sort of feels like she's in a noisy environment and wants to stay muted.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay, Anne, give us your 30 seconds, 15 seconds, something personal, 15 seconds, something professional.
My name is Ann Morcos. I have 2 grown children, 3 grandchildren. I have been a medical editor since 1987. So I was in creative. I was an English teacher before that at UNO, University of New Orleans, because I grew up in New Orleans and went to college there, got my master's degree there. But then I moved over into medical editing, which I have been doing since that time. So I'm able to support myself with a degree in English even now, But I've always loved writing. I was inspired by my father. He wanted to be a writer and he wrote some things. And he inspired me and my sisters and my daughter and who's a journalist and my niece who's a journalist. So we all had this kind of thing in there. My sister, older sister, has published 2 books. Gardening books. One was picked up by University of Press, Mississippi. And
wow.
well, she did 2 books for them. As far as me, I self-published a book called The Tale of Not a Nutria. I'm kind of a history nerd, and I feel sorry for Nutria because they didn't come here willingly. They were brought here by greedy men to make money off of them. And so I kind of have compassion for them, even though people say they look like rats. They have beautiful fur, and Cajuns killed them, sent their fur to Paris, and it was made into blue fox coats. But now women don't wear real fur coats anymore, so there's no need for them. So they're proliferating because they reproduce twice, 8 pups twice a year. At any rate, I moved to Texas where my son is. I joined several writers groups there. They published anthologies, and I had 5 of my ghost stories were published in their anthologies. I won best short story, 3rd place for best short story.
Yay.
But when I moved back home in 2015, and I've just kind of stuck, But I do have a wonderful idea. Like I said, I'm a history nerd. I'm a tour guide. I'm a walking tour guide in the French Quarter. So I learned a lot about New Orleans history that I thought I knew, but I really didn't. And I've got a wonderful idea for a historical mystery novel. And someday I hope I can get to it. But that's it. That's me.
That sounds great. I was a tour guide also. I studied with the Friends of the Cabildo.
That's
And then
what a friend of the Cabildo tour, yeah.
and then over at Delgado, I forgot her name, but a moment.
Barbara, was it?
I can't remember, but the point was when I actually started tour guiding, my voice couldn't take it. So
yeah, I have trouble. Yeah, I have trouble. I did the same thing. I got my tour guide license from Delgado first, and then I went to the Friends of the Cabildo, and I have to take cough drops with me all the time, and I have to suck on cough drops the whole time because my voice goes out too. So
we should get together because I'm also writing something about old New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll talk later about that. And
Okay.
put your number in the chat or something. And
Okay.
Janet, welcome. What basically, I don't know if you heard what we are doing. 15 seconds of something personal. What you do for a living. You have any children, married, whatever. And 15 seconds of something professional. Would you share with us about you?
Sure. I've got one book published, came out in 2012. It's a biography, won reader's favorite goal for best biography that year.
Wow.
I recently finished querying, I hope forever, my first mystery novel. I have an agent for that now. So we'll see if they're able to find a publisher, hoping to turn that into a series. I'm partially in on the 2nd book if it is a series. I have a start on that. I'm married. I'm a shepherdess. I have horses. I have one daughter who's going to be 39 this year. Don't know how that happened. And 2 grandchildren.
Wow, good for you, Janet. Thank you. I'm about to write my first autobiography as a ghost writer for a company called Story Terrace. I don't know if anybody else works for them, but it's not great money, but it's decent money, and you keep your hand in. Just recommending Story Terrace. Look it up on the internet. Betsy, did Betsy say she wanted to talk or not? And you're muted, Mary Beth.
Betsy said that she has a noisy background and she preferred to stay muted.
Okay.
Give her a second chance. She may want to throw her 2 cents in here.
Well, she does. That's great. Meanwhile,
She has
Kate,
graciously put some links. Oh, she says it's very noisy. She's out on the West Coast, so
okay.
she's
Well,
and she has graciously put some links in the chat, and I've put the one for Mark Dawson for you.
okay.
But she's got some links to some publishing resources as well. So
Excellent.
folks, take advantage of that chat.
I will. And Kate, are you going to jump in and play with us?
Sure.
Okay. So 15 seconds, something personal, 15 seconds, something professional. When you're ready, go.
Okay. So I was raised as a Navy brat, and I've lived in over 25 different places, including overseas and including New Orleans when I attended Loyola University. So New Orleans is one of my favorite places, and I pretty much will buy every one of your books that is set there because I'm really big on setting and characters. I am an award-winning published poet who is moving into the fiction world, and really mystery is my favorite genre. So I joined Sisters in Crime, and I primarily write ghost stories and Southern Gothic.
That sounds so exciting. I love that stuff. I became addicted to suspense as a teenager when I happened to see a novel by Mary Stewart, if anyone remembers Mary Stewart, that my sister had. And I was waiting for her to do something, and I started reading it. Well, I couldn't put the damn thing down. And it was called My Brother Michael. I fell in love with her and that whole group of women. Okay, let me find out. Can we see, does everybody know how to use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen? They have applause, thumbs up, something you love, something makes you laugh, something that surprises you, a celebration kind of thing, whatever. Anyway, I'll raise hand if you want to say something. I'm wondering if you could, I guess, raise the hand if you were able to see the Enneagram at least once. Vicki did, Mary Beth did. Okay, Jessica, Ann, Betsy, Kate, and Janet have not seen it yet.
No.
Oh wait, Ann has. Okay. What it is a very ancient system that it's who knows how old, 5,000 years, 10,000 years. Astrology, those of you who know anything about it, astrology was originally the work of wise people who noticed that certain things happen when the sun was in a certain place or the moon was in a certain place, and they began to mark down things like the cyclical nature of seasons and so on. And they also, what made astrology very important at one point was that it was about planting and not just when it became, the world became an agricultural type of civilization, but planting also for children. So they would look at the charts once they were developed. The Vedic astrologers are very big on this in India, and see that this couple may do very well right now, but later their charts say they would break up or somebody would die or their children would, they wouldn't have children or whatever. So they began to have astrologers predict, and they still do in India today. You can get your naughty leaves done, which will tell you I haven't done it yet, I'd love to, but anyway, it tells you everything about your life. But they would tell you if you married this person, you would have a happy marriage. If you married this person, you would not. But it was about children and getting children. Well, all these people, the Enneagram was also devised by other very wise people who were able to see a correlation between points of view. What the Enneagram is about is your point of view. When we wonder why there is such antagonism right now, I'm old enough to remember when everybody was very polite to each other, but you're watching all these people warring and fighting about my way is better than your way and so on. What I had my students do at one point was I said, I'm going to explain the Enneagram to you very simply. Stand in a circle. So they all stood in a circle. And I said, look at each other. Okay. Now turn around and put your backs to each other. Okay, great. Now, Sam, what do you see? He said, oh, I see the door to the restroom. And directly across from him was Susan. I said, Susan, what do you see? She said, I see the front door. I said, so now you're going to say to Sam, I see the front door. There is no restroom door. And Sam's going to say, there is too. because they can't see each other's points of view. And what is so wonderful about writers and actors, anyone who is able to give us a vision of the world, whether it's through entertainment, like I was thinking, Anne, were you the one about the nutrias? I was immediately imagining a story of a nutria that could be sold to Disney and the nutria's point of view as your nutria tries to kind of like there's a wonderful Milo and Otis. If y'all have ever seen Milo and Otis, is it's a real life movie about Milo is a dog. I think Otis is a dog also, but I don't remember. I saw it so many years ago. But you watch the journey of these little animals as they're trying to get home again. Kind of like Dorothy, and the wizard, but with animals and no wizard. Anyway, the idea of the Enneagram was to help people see other points of view. And I know for myself, it was just the greatest blessing, because I would wonder why Betty Johnson, who used to be my friend, suddenly didn't like me anymore. Suddenly when we were 15 years old, and I couldn't understand it. What had happened to her was a part of her personality developed. And so from her point of view, she's 0.6 in the Enneagram. I'm a 0.2. And Betty is, many 0.6s are suspicious that everybody else has a hidden agenda. That's the way they are. And I'm not like that. As a 2, what you see is what you get, folks. This is all there is. So, but Betty, when I remember one day at church, I said, "You look so pretty in that dress, Betty." She said, "What do you want?" "What do I want? I don't want anything. I was just admiring you." But I did want something. And as I began to study the Enneagram, I realized what it was. 2s get their greatest benefit from helping people. So when I'm teaching, I am so excited because I'm able to share something, give something that will hopefully make people's lives better. It's more fun for me than anything. And again, each point of view, like one of my sisters is an 8. 8s are all about justice and James Bond and you know, whatever's necessary for king and country. And they're, it's different from a 0.1, the perfectionist. A 0.1 is into, that's not right. That's not right. And they get into like, they get very angry. I'm not angry. It's just, that's not right. So as you begin to see yourself and your relatives and other people, which is why I'm recommending, if you haven't seen the video, I'm leaving it up for you guys. Up until now, it's only been something my acting students can see. I want you to be able to use it so that you can recognize not only yourselves and your relationships, which will give you deeper and deeper understanding of yourself and human nature, but it will give your characters more depth than they can possibly get without your global understanding of the relationships. Because I, again, speaking of myself, but I know that until I could see Betty's point of view, that she was protecting herself, I just thought she was being mean. I thought, why would you, we're still friends on Facebook, but I've never talked to her about this. Someday I may. It was so long ago that happened when we were 15. But I pulled up for you. Let me see if I can find it now. Just one second. Oops, that's not it. I pulled up the types, and I'm going to copy this if I can. Select all, copy, and put this in the chat so that you can, back to, here we go. So you can see the basic types. Here's the chat. And it sounds like, oh, it won't let me paste it. Try that again. Nope, it won't let me paste it. So I'm not sure what to do about that. Betty did have issues. She really did have issues. I'm seeing what Janet said here. The thing is, though, is that she was abused by her parents, but she would have been that way anyway. Until, as Socrates and Jesus and Apollo and everybody said, know thyself. Until you really can see yourself objectively from the outside, you will have issues. You can have issues regardless. It's a human life, but I don't know why it won't let me paste this thing. Let me see if I can figure something out here. Maybe it'll let me paste the link. Let me try that. Excuse me one second while I go back over there. Okay. So I want each one of you to tell me, it would let me paste the link. Okay, so y'all can pull that up. I studied with the woman who introduced this to the United States. Her name's Ellen Palmer. And it's her voice interviewing people on that video over there at Vimeo. And an unbelievably brilliant woman is a professor of something or another, although she's probably retired by now at Berkeley. But I used to, I was on a show called The Young and the Restless at the time. And my girlfriend, Belinda, was so into this stuff. And I'm like, well, how do you know you, what am I? She said, you're a 2. I said, you got that from my birthday? No. Well, wow. She said, because I know the system. And it's so interesting that when you do know the system, like I'll warrant Mary Beth is probably a 9. Mary Beth, did you have a chance to read the descriptions? And could you unmute so I can ask you this question?
Actually, no, I didn't get a chance to read the descriptions, but what I was doing was making notes while I was watching the video. And I've come to the conclusion that I am halfway between a 2 and an 8. I try to meet the needs of everyone else, but I also have this huge sense of what's right, what needs to be to make it fair for everybody. So I'm kind of like halfway in between those two.
Well, those people are called 9s.
Okay.
I know I have a 9 sister. I had a 9 sister. She's gone to heaven. But while she was here, the 9 is the mediator. They are the people that can't stand it when their close relatives are at war with each other. I used to fight with the 8 sister and Mary Joelle, the 9 sister. We'd, oh, it's terrible. Give me a piece around here. You guys are the ones that put together malls and communities. 9s are all about community, and specifically everybody. You know, they want to include everybody. Whereas other, like I think about people like Hitler, for instance, he certainly didn't want to include everybody. He was a paranoid 6. And they are always, like Betty Johnson, looking for the enemy. Who's the one who's going to undermine us and upset the apple cart? And when they are evolved, because of course all of us can evolve or devolve, I guess. But when you are evolved and you can really see the forest and the trees, you will still hold whatever standards you have, but you'll get it.
Okay. And I have to admit, I did not make the connection with where the point was as far as the midline. I was thinking you go from one to the other and not making the connection that point of the 9 was halfway in between. So thank you.
Oh, sure. No, there is actually a direction. 9s stress, they call it, into 6s. So when my little sister, Mary Joelle, was upset about something, she would sometimes get very paranoid. And 6s stress into 3. And one of my favorite examples of this is the movie Back to the Future. We have Michael J. Fox playing Marty McFly. Marty McFly is the comeback kid. America, by the way, is a 0.3. And we're always, go, go, go. And, and we help other people. We're performers. I mean, we, the country, are a performer. We're always on the world stage doing something.
Yeah. Kate says she's a 5.
Kate's a 5. Where's Kate? Hey, Kate, can you unmute and tell us why you're a 5? How you know it?
Well, I probably should like to take the test, but just reading the description that's on the page, there was pretty much many of them I could just rule out and say no.
Yeah.
And that whole part about isolating and things like that, I'm one of the people who during this pandemic, I was like thrilled that the world shut down and I could go in my hidey hole and write and read. And I'm having to adjust coming back out. So
Yes.
I like being in my own head and my own space and my own creative energy.
You might also find it useful, if you haven't done it yet, to take the Myers-Briggs test. Has anyone done Myers-Briggs? You
A
have?
long time ago. Yeah.
Janet, what are your numbers? Do you remember?
INTJ,
What is it?
INTJ.
I'm an ENFJ. And it's, Kate, you might want to try that too. And also be sure to watch. What's great about this is these things, whether it's astrology or Chinese astrology or numerology. There's a wonderful book that Manya, the 8th sister, gave me called, trying to read the title here, and the light is off. One second. Is this it? Nope, that isn't it. I don't know what I did with it, but it's about, I just can't see it right now. The overhead light isn't on, but anyway, I'm just an addict for quizzes, puzzles, anything that tells me more about human nature and myself. The life you were born to live. The title is The Life You Were Born to Live. And you look up your birthday, and this guy who wrote the movie The Peaceful Warrior will tell you what you're supposed to be doing. And mine said I was supposed to be a writer. And I went, what? I'm supposed to be a writer? Because at the time I was an actor. Okay, so back to Belinda and what she said. When I said, how do you know I'm a 2? She said, when you know the system, you just see it. Because there are not only personality types, but physiological types that will fit into a certain, they call it a point, 0.5, 0.9, whatever. This is so handy if you're writing characters that you can begin, if you choose to learn enough about, and you go deeply into it, how these various points think, what they're like when they are unevolved, what they're like when they have evolved and worked on themselves. The main thing I learned was that it doesn't matter what point you are, if you are evolved, and you don't have to be evolved because of knowing the Enneagram. You could be evolved because you're a Christian or whatever. You could be evolved because you just taken the time, maybe you've seen a psychotherapist, whatever. But you can get evolved without it. I just find it very easy to be able to read more and more on the Enneagram and learn more and more about people. Yes, it's been very helpful for me with myself, but it's been incredibly helpful with my writing and incredibly helpful when I'm teaching my acting students about characters. They'll say, I want to play a whatever. And I'll say, okay, describe that, whatever. And they talk superficially. What's great about this system is it gives you a chance to go in depth to whatever you're interested in. And I recommend that you do what Mary Beth did and study the system so that you really begin to comprehend it. It's anyway, back to the future. So I was going to explain about the 369. Marty McFly, the little hero, and a lot of these 0.3s look like teenagers. Sally Field, Dick Clark, Michael J. Fox, George Stephanopoulos, however you pronounce his name. They have these very young, teenage-looking faces. That's one of the ways I can spot them, is what they look like. Anyway, there's Marty, and he wants to win, but he feels like a loser. The band. Has everyone seen Back to the Future? Vicki, did you see Back? Okay. I figured most people did, which is why I'm using it. Anyway, he's rejected by the band, so and so on. What he's got going for him is that adorable little girlfriend who thinks he's fantastic. His father is pretty much of a loser. George McFly is kind of an idiot. And he's being bullied all the time by Biff. Biff is a Hitlerian 6. The kind that is looking for enemies everywhere and then wants to punish them or annihilate them or whatever. And what's funny is the actor that played Biff is actually a really sweet guy, but the director was able to pull that character out of him because he was able to. And let me just say this right now. I really need to say this. You can't play something you can't be. You have to have it in you in order to be able to be whatever. So anytime you see an actor playing anything, they're able to. But hopefully, especially if they're playing serial killers or whatever, they've chosen to go in another direction. They're not going to kill people. Anyway, so we have the triad, the 9, George McFly, Marty, the 3, his son, his wife, by the way, is also a 6, Lorraine, and Biff. Okay. The dynamic is the 9 is intimidated by the 6. Biff is always beaten up on him back when they were teenagers. And Marty, the young hero, is trying to save his dad. When George finally, because of his love for Lorraine, punches Biff out, it stops the bullying permanently, which it does if you stand up to a bully. I'm sure you all know that. It stops the bullying permanently, and it lets George finally be the man he really is. A writer of science fiction novels, whatever. Okay, so the dynamic is what, let's see, what else I want to tell you. I got off track. Okay, anyway, the point is that there is a dynamic, Mary Beth. 9 stresses into 6, 6 stresses into 3, 3 stresses into 9. That's the triangle that's over the whole system. Everybody else is part of another system. Point 1 stresses into point 4, which stresses into point 2, which stresses into point 8, which stresses into point 5, which stresses into point 7, which stresses into point 1. There's this whole flow. And one of the ways it was explained to me was if you're trying to prepare dinner, you can't very well prepare dinner if you haven't gone to the grocery store first. And you have to have other things, or is this, if you use real silver, is the silver polished? All those preparation things before you can get to the big thing of actually making the dinner. Somebody
have
said,
an interesting comment from Janet.
yeah, I'm looking at it. A late actor friend of mine would hold in real life emotions because he didn't want to waste them off screen. Oh, I thought that was interesting. Don't know how typical. It's not typical. Most of us are pretty expressive, and I think I understand what that person was saying. I just happen to disagree. I think it's like using your muscles for anything. When I was on the soaps, I astound my students by telling them I was able to read a script, an hour-long script, twice and know the whole thing. I mean, my part, because my memory muscle was working. I think it's true also with your emotions. If you don't use them, in my opinion, they begin to get creaky and rusty and stuff like that. Okay, so let's talk about your characters. I need a volunteer. Okay, Janet, tell us about a character you're writing now, and let's see what kind of dynamic they have with another character in your
Okay.
story.
Well, do you want me to put them in terms of your Enneagram characteristics? My main character is a 9. She's a peacemaker. She wants everybody to get along. She's not very good at it, unfortunately. And she tends to cause some problems, but she's very directed on, she's a middle child in her family and would like everybody to just be nice to each other.
What is, hey, Janet, what are the problems that she's causing? Tell us that.
She tends to work on that a little bit too hard.
How does she do that? Tell us.
Nagging mostly to try. She has 2 brothers who do not get along, and she tends to kind of stay on them about how they need to be nicer to each other, especially the older one needs to be more considerate of the younger one. So she gets a little bit annoying with it, but that's she tends to be very easygoing, not very motivated in her career until the investigator career kind of fell on her. So that's her. I would say her significant other, her boyfriend, is probably would be somewhere between, I don't know, probably a 4.
Well, she wouldn't do it. That's the whole point about this. When you have a dysfunctional marriage, it's because your characters aren't married to their natural, like she would naturally marry a 6 if she wants someone to manage the control stuff, because 6s can be really good with that. Obviously, we have so many leaders and presidents and things that are either 9s or 6s. The 9s, of course, like Donald Trump is a 9, but so is Bill Clinton, so is Obama. All these people were 9s, whereas George Bush the Younger was a 7.
You'd put Trump as a peacemaker, self-effacing?
No,
Seriously?
no, he leans on 2 things. He leans on his 8, justice, wanting to make things right in the way he sees it. Or what he does at home, at least this is what I've read, is he goes crazy if things aren't exactly a certain way. That's his one wing. We all have wings. I didn't say that. Okay, so if you're a 9, you have a 1 wing and an 8 wing. If you're 1, you have a 9 wing and a 2 wing. If you're a 2, you have a 1 wing and a 3 wing. If you're a 3, you have a 2 wing and a 4 wing. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. Also, when I was talking about stressing, we all have a point, like I stress into 8. And as one of my teachers said to me one time, because I tend not to really want hassle, but she said, you jump into kill or be killed. That's James Bond. And when I get angry enough, if someone's abusing an animal or something, I go nuts. I try not to, though, because it totally distracts me from the rest of my life. This is a very complex system, but once you get it, it took me about a year to really get it and be able to use it in my work, which again was basically working with actors. But she would marry a 3 if she's looking for someone who is fun, highly entertaining, someone who would be busy enough not to bother her when she's trying to do her housework and her hobbies, whatever it is, because he's got his own stuff. She'd marry a 6 if she's looking for someone to help her control stuff. So if she's got the war between the brothers, her husband, if he chooses to, could step in and use his 9 side to mediate the battle between them leaving her out of it, Janet. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, but that would not work in this relationship.
Okay, well,
Actually, the one they have works pretty well.
okay, wait. If you have, well, again, you said the four. The four is the tragic romantic, right?
Well, let me change that. I think he may be more, because he's really not a tragic type, but he is very, yeah, let's not do that. I would possibly a one. I'm trying to think. He's very much in his head.
The trick is this. It's like fours are always, point four is always looking, either remembering the past love and nostalgia, or imagining the day, someday my prince will come, looking toward the future. And
Okay.
it's very hard for fours, although in the video, she explains some of this. It's very hard for them to care for anybody right now. I was married to a four. And when we got divorced, I introduced him to a lovely woman. And I said, what about her? And he said, nope. I said, why not? He said, she's too real. And they want everything to stay very pretty and very fairy dust and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I did not, I was trying to read too fast with new glasses, and I'm trying to hold this computer so you can't see that I'm actually still wearing a robe and a nightgown because the time slipped up on me.
That's totally okay with me.
So let's see. And I also have new glasses, so I'm having a little trouble with the computer. Possibly a 5 would be her significant other. He's very cerebral. He's very much of an individualist and not really very interested in getting involved in a lot of the family dynamics.
That would be a 5. But remember, a 6 has a 5 wing. And we use our wings to solve problems. So when I'm teaching, I'm trying to be accurate. So I'm using my 1 wing unless I'm trying to entertain you. And then I do my 3 wing. And my 2 self is a basic part of like, oh, good. What does Janet need? Can I, in some ways I'm like a dog, can I make you happy? Can I do something for you? Would you like a cookie? That kind of thing. Okay. I'm going to suggest that Helen's book is quite good. Helen, my teacher, Palmer. It's called The Enneagram, Understanding Yourself and Others in Your Life. And it's not the only system. It's just, in my opinion, the best system for grasping, because it's a system of personality that helps you to know thyself. Since we're running out of time, hold on a minute. I wanted to share a couple of other things with you guys. Let me get back to it. Okay. Moving this over here. And okay. I read an awful lot of books on, oh, by the way, if any of you ever want an audiobook narrator, that's what I do. I narrate. I've done about 12 of them so far, and I'm working on one right now. And my authors really like me, which is very gratifying. But I'm reading, right? Okay, I have Chris Soth, Hal Crozman, and Matt Bird. So let's see what I should do here. We don't have time for Crozman right now, but I'll say something about Matt and Chris. Something Chris said, I don't know if this will mean to you what it meant to me, but he was talking about how to create tension in your stories. And he called it he said, the key is to build tension with hope and fear. So tension equals hope versus fear. And the example he used was, whatever you're writing, you have an open window and there's a fire escape and there's a ledge. And all you have to do is put a baby on the window ledge. And as the baby creeps towards the, the part of the window that opens onto the street, you create terrible tension in your audience, unless they're really peculiar people. And as the baby moves further away, I just thought you might like that little formula. It's been so useful to me. Tension equals hope versus fear. And this is the other thing I wanted to make sure to tell you. I'm reading this book right now that's fantastic. It's by an author named Matt Bird, M-A-T-T Bird, and it's called The Secrets of Story. And this is something he said that I thought was so interesting. All the other writing teachers I've read, Bob McKee, who was the first time I ever heard the expression inciting incident, and all these other people, what Matt said was, forget all that. There is the inciting incident should be divided into 3 points. There has to be a long-standing personal problem, like, let's take Star Wars. Luke Skywalker wants to go be a Jedi Knight, but his aunt and uncle want him to work on the farm. So, or Dorothy and the wizard is interested in faraway places till she actually gets away. But if you really think about it, there's always something bothering these people. It's a long-standing problem, and there seems to be, in some case, personal problem, no solution. But then an opportunity comes up to solve that problem. Like in Star Wars, her aunt and uncle, his aunt and uncle are killed, or Dorothy, there's a cyclone or whatever. And so there's an opportunity to solve your problem. And then there's an unexpected conflict. I am using this constantly in my stories now. It's kind of like that expression, be careful what you wish for. You think you want it and then you get it. It's like, oh no. So I strongly recommend Matt Bird's book, The Secret of Story, which I happen to be listening to now because I love audiobooks, obviously. Okay, we have a couple of minutes. Please, if you have anything you want to ask me or whatever, please do it now.
Okay, Veleka, we have a question. What is the author's, Helen's surname?
Palmer.
Okay, there you go, Janet. And I put The Secret of Story, but give me his name again.
Matt Bird. And he's a genius. I'm so impressed with him. I found him through Katie Wideland. Do y'all know Katie? She's, I think I must collect people who write about writing. I really think I do. I have so many books on that. Katie Wideland writes, she's another writing teacher, but she recommended him so highly that I thought, all right, I'll check him out. And I was so happy. He says stuff you've never seen before by anybody else. And do you have any questions or thoughts? No? What did you think of our talk today? Was it of any interest to you? You were muted.
I have a dog that's barking. That's why I'm muted. My company made us take the Enneagram test, and we're all classified, and I'm a number 6. So I was kind of familiar with it, but I've never thought about it being used for character development. And also I wonder if I wrote a historic novel, could I use that approach for developing the character who lived in the 1800s?
Yes, because everything has a point of view. If you think about countries, Russia is 0.9, but on the aggressive side. Because remember, everything has a good, so to speak, good side and so to speak, bad side. So the bear of Russia and Germany is a 0.6. England, I believe, let's see, France, I think is 0.5. Forget what England is, 0.7 maybe. But everything has a point of view, because if you think about the way God made us, our eyes are in the front. not behind. So we are always able to see some things, and there's another half like the moon in darkness that can't see stuff. So and also, and do you find, Anne, for yourself, are you looking for hidden agendas within everybody?
Yeah, I do. And my daughter tells me all the time, Mom, you think too much. That nobody's doing that. Nobody cares about that. Yeah, so that's definitely me. I need to get over it.
No, you need to use it. See, the whole point of the Enneagram is to evolve what you got into something greater. So people like you, and I don't have that. So I have to try to do it in a fake way. Like just say to myself, what could she possibly be thinking that I would never admit? But I can't. It's like one of my favorite quotes is, no matter how heroic a man's imagination, there's absolutely no way that he can imagine something he never would think of. Does that make any sense? It's like, how many times in your life has something come up and you just didn't think of that? You know, maybe not in your case, maybe in your case, because you are looking for hidden agenda. But what it does is, I've read people with 6 in them are able to develop their intuition and their acuity about stuff very, very fine. My aunt was a 6. Guess what? She worked with the CIA. She was a spy. We didn't find out till after she retired because they don't let them tell you. But it's like everything has a way to develop it. My helping thing, which in the past when I was young and I wanted to be popular, I would give the girls all the clothes in my wardrobe that they wanted. I just wanted them to like me. Now I'm using it as a teacher. You know, Vicki, do you have anything you want to share? What was your experience today?
I shared it on the comments.
Oh,
I found that my characters are a little flat, and this was very great. Also, I'd like to invite y'all to our meeting at Creative Minds in Ponchatoula. We're doing character development at the last Saturday of the month from 1 to 3.
Can it be run online? I'm having a difficulty being, what do they call it? Immuno something or another.
No, it's all in person at our Twin Steeples facility.
Well, send an invitation to us anyway.
Okay, Mary Beth is a member.
Yes,
Okay.
I am. Proud to be a member.
Good. That sounds great. Well, I'm so glad to be meeting y'all. In terms of the flatness, when I wasn't able, we didn't have time to share with you something I got from my current writing teacher. His name is Hal Crosman, but he's having me do these exercises. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I'll just read this thing if I can find it. 1 second. Where are you? Here we are. Nope, that isn't it. Let me go. Today is the 20th. I don't know why I can't. Oh, sorry. We're on the 21st. I beg your pardon. Okay. Hal, he's having us elevate concepts by brainstorming each of the main components of that concept. So for instance, Vicki, you can make your components could be any major part of your concept, like the component could be a different protagonist, different antagonist, different goal, different twist, different conflict, different dilemma. So take one of your characters and switch them so that we, as an example, the thing I'm writing, the screenplay I'm writing right now, when I used that exercise last night, I went, oh my God, now I know why the serial killer is killing people. Yes, he's crazy, but now I know why, what his motivation is. it was just astonishing. Hal, by the way, has a lot of free classes. His website is screenwritingu.com or screenwritingclasses.com. He has free classes. The guy's a genius. I've been studying with him since 2010, as well as John Truby, John Harubi, Chris Soth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just soak it all up. But I think you'll find, yes.
I'm sorry, would you just check and make sure I typed the address in correctly for Hal?
You absolutely did.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. But the flat thing, one of the best things about knowing the Enneagram is when you understand the wings, like, did you figure out what your point is? Vicki?
Yeah,
What are you?
I don't know.
Well, when
I'm
you
just
do,
out there. I haven't figured it out yet. I seem to fall into a bunch of things, and I hate to be a 9 like Mary Beth, but I may be.
That's why we get along so well, I guess.
Yeah.
9s are the people that hold the world together. They really are. So while the rest of us are off on ships to discover America or something, the 9s are back home cooking, cleaning, sewing clothes for the children. So we wouldn't be able to survive without our 9s. But when you find out, like the wings, I really shocked a whole bunch of old friends who were not really my friends, but I was busy pretending they were my friends because I didn't want to get into a hassle. And one of them said, "You're not at all like you were when you were a teenager." I said, "I've grown up," and let her see the 8. I let her see the 8 come out. She said, "Oh, okay." But
Okay,
you'll
wasn't that Meryl Streep's line?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Wasn't that Meryl Streep's line in Mamma Mia? Some of us have grown up.
I guess it is. I didn't remember her saying that, but I remember me saying that to Gay Harkey, and because I couldn't stand that girl. But you know, when you're in church, when you're in church with people, you kind of have to get along with everybody in your age group. So Betsy, can you share anything about what your experience was today? Maybe she'll put something in the chat. Vicki
Just
said,
say thanks for the great info.
"Oh, thank you. Twin steeples." Okay, great, Vicki. And
May I interject? Twin Steeple was there 2 churches that were out of use, and they were put to face each other. It's a nice new facility. It has all kinds of art and creative things displayed. And if you haven't,
Whoops,
street a block from the railroad tracks.
let me think about it. I'm so terrified of COVID that I hardly ever leave the house.
we allow masks.
Oh, yeah, well, and then I can't breathe.
Okay.
But anyway, y'all were wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and your
Well,
questions.
thank you. We
and I
appreciate your expertise.
Oh, thank you. I loved it. Please watch the Enneagram thing. It's 59 minutes or something a couple of times. We all have, I discovered, an inner teacher, a very, very wise person that lives in all of us. Even my friend Susie, who has, what is that thing called? It's a condition that makes it hard for her to, it's what Claire Danes had in Homeland.
Autism.
What is it?
She's on the autism spectrum.
Yes, she is. The girl's a genius, but she's got all these problems with the autism thing. And I worked with her. She was one of my students to bring this out till we found she had something called what's that called? I'll show y'all what it's called. It's a specific type of autism.
Asperger's.
Asperger's, thank you, yes. Susie had Asperger's. Once she found out, she was able to identify the issues and begin to deal with it, work with it. Vicki, you might want to consider giving your characters, that's what they did with Claire Danes in Homeland. They gave her whatever condition she had, bipolar, whatever, giving people a problem that they have to deal with constantly. They're lame, they're blind, they're deaf, whatever, makes them go one more step. Anyway, I love you all. I hope you'll invite me back.
Thank you so much, Veleka. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you to our guest. We appreciate you being here. Members, if you'll stick around for a moment, we do have to have a brief business meeting.
Okay, I'll leave you guys.
Thank you, Veleka.
And
Okay, so who have we got? We've got Janet, we've got Ann. Uh-oh, we lost Jessica.
Mary Beth, I haven't
ma'am.
paid any dues or anything. Can I still be a member?
If you would like to join us, we would love
Yes,
to have
thank
you as
you.
a member.
Thank you.
And I will, you and I need to talk
the
after the
paperwork.
meeting about getting you your paperwork done.
Good.
Okay, great. Well, I've got an agenda up here, way up here in the chat. First, we need to set a date for a board meeting. And I don't know, do we have, no, we don't have any board members here but me. Okay, we won't set a date for the board meeting in this. Great. Conference info. We have applied to a couple of conferences. The Mississippi State Book Festival in Jackson. We have applied. They don't tell you right away if you're in or not. But if we are accepted, we will not be able to sell books at the festival because we're going in as a nonprofit. What we will be able to do, though, is all of our members can give us marketing material to give out. We'll be giving out information about Sisters in Crime, but we'll also be giving out information about our published members. So put on your thinking cap about what kind of marketing materials you want to provide us to give out. Louisiana State Book Festival has not yet opened up registration. We're on their mailing list for when they do. And when the newsletter comes out shortly, you'll see we've got a whole list of upcoming events that you can look into. The chapter will not be going in on all of them, but if you want to go in on one, if you'd like to talk to another member about partnering with you on one of them, you'll have the information to get you started. Okay, so that's where we stand on conferences right now. And of course, thanks to Marissa for the beautiful work that she does on the newsletter. And she's also put together some marketing materials for us for these various conferences that we need to review in a board of directors meeting, but we don't have any directors here but me to set up a meeting. Okay. Under new business, Melinda, as I mentioned, she is out sick this morning. She is, I don't know how many of you know, she has had some health issues going on. Some severe health issues and had surgery, one of which has gone wrong and she has to have more surgery. It's not been good for her. So she sent me a statement and asked me to please read it. Dear siblings, it is with deepest regret that I must abdicate my position as president of the Sisters in Crime-NOLA chapter for both medical and personal reasons. It has become increasingly difficult to maintain the responsibilities of the office. Life has presented mounting obstacles. Our family home has become nearly unlivable as multiple major issues have developed, and we are compelled to seek new quarters as soon as possible. Additionally, I am struggling with a major health issue that needs to be rectified before it becomes more life-threatening. I feel it is unfair to the chapter to endure the unreliable nature of my service due to the aforementioned struggles, particularly when we have experienced personnel among our numbers who are much better equipped to realize the vision of the group. I will also be stepping down from general membership as I need to devote full attention to my health and finding a new home. I am working with the chapter's Vice President, Mary Beth, to ensure all chapter material in my possession is turned over. I ask that I please be removed from account access. There are no future guests locked in for the remainder of the year, so please feel free to press on with suggestions already posited by other members. While I apologize for this abrupt development, it could not be avoided. I sincerely wish each and every one of you the best. You will all be missed. I can't believe I made it through without breaking down.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
Yeah, it
sorry
has
that you're
been
going
very
through all
rough
that.
for her.
Yeah.
She so far has had 4 surgeries and facing a 5th because one of them didn't go well. And it's just, she can't keep up with everything that she's trying to keep up with.
Yeah.
Something had to give. So
Well,
we do need a
it's-
board of directors meeting to propose a new president for the membership to vote on. And I know typically it would be the vice president steps up. I can't. I'm not in New Orleans. I'm way out here. I'm not in an effective place to be a good vice president or a good president. Hey, I'm a great vice president. I can send emails, but that's about it. I don't have the contacts in the city. You know, so we will have to elect a new president, and a board of directors meeting to put forth nominees is in order. So any new business from any of you, anything? And Vicki, thank you for the invitation to Creative Minds. You stole my thunder. I was gonna invite everybody in under new business, but you've got it covered. Anything else? No, everybody good? Any upcoming publications that we need to broadcast?
Mary Beth, are you all going to continue meeting on Zoom? I don't really want to go to New Orleans. You know,
Well, one thing that we're trying to do is to set it up so that we alternate with Creative Minds. So that 1 month we meet, 1 month we meet with Creative Minds. So, you know, trying to balance that going
Great, I
forward.
can do that.
Yeah, Colleen and Nancy have been in conversation, and we'll go forward from there. Don't know how it'll come out, but we'll let you know. And of course, our next meeting in July, on July 16th, I believe it is in Mandeville. And that'll be going out to everybody at the trailhead. So that will be going out to everyone. And we are still looking for a permanent location to meet. The libraries in New Orleans are not yet assigning rooms. So that, and I apologize, I should have put that on the agenda, that yes, we are still actively seeking a permanent meeting place. If anyone has any ideas, with the Sisters in Crime account, we can maintain hybrid meetings where we meet in person as well as Zooming for people who can't make it to the meeting. And I think that's great, because you saw we had people here today from a couple of different states. And if you've been following the Sisters in Crime, yes, I'm going to find that in a minute. Trade Wings, the Trade Wings group. There are all sorts of meetings announced there, things that you can sit in on, free meetings that are Zoom as well as sometimes in person at their location. I'll tell you the truth. I love the South Tennessee chapter, but there's no way I can drive up there for a meeting, but I get to sit in with Zoom. And I love that. The Grand Canyon chapter is another one that does a great job with their fireside chats. Keep an eye on that Trade Wings access, because as a member, that's a resource for you that you would just not be able to buy as a writer. To have access to all those different groups and perspectives. In the last 2 weeks, I've heard Tess Garrison, the creator of Rizzoli and Isles, and okay, I've lost her name, Ridenauer, Dana Ridenauer, Ridenauer, I'm not sure. I don't remember now how to pronounce it. Those are authors of a caliber that you'd have to pay a lot of money to go to a presentation from them. but through Sisters in Crime, you get to join it. Veleka, that's another one. The folks that were in on that session this morning didn't have to pay 150 for a conference fee. They were able to join it as part of their benefits through Sisters in Crime. So take advantage of the benefits that you receive. Any questions, comments, anything that we need to address before we go on?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. Appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in July. And you will be getting the announcement, the invitation.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.